It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations. We cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Kruse.
Welcome to the show. We are seeing the first signs of spring up here in the Pacific Northwest. As a matter of fact, the robins are back, the meadowlarks are back, the ice is off the reservoirs, and I am going fishing with my best friend for Lahontan cutthroat trout at a place called Lake Lenoir. Now, a lot of you have probably never heard of Lahontan cutthroat trout. That's because they're native to Nevada, and they're only found in a few lakes out in the western U.S., and these lakes tend to be very alkaline, and they don't support any other species of fish except the Lahontan cutthroat trout. How do they eat? Well, not so good. It's all catch and release, but they sure get big. The average fish at Lake Lenoir is 2 to 3 pounds, and we've caught them up to 7 pounds there before. A lot of folks will go after them with fly rods using little black chironomids. Myself, I like to toss spoons at them. Crocodile spoon being one of my favorites. Wish me luck, and wish my buddy luck too. Can't wait to get out there. This week on the show, we've got more audio for you recorded at the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show and the Washington Sportsman Show. In just a minute, you're going to hear from Jim Davis. He's a Max Lure Pro staffer and an avid kayak angler. As a matter of fact, he's such an avid kayak angler that he joined the U.S. Saltwater Kayak Fishing Team, and he is fishing all over the world for different species. His next stop is Costa Rica and then Mexico. Can't wait to hear more about this. After we talk to Jim, we're going to talk to my old friend Mike Whitlow with Anglers Inn International. He just got back from a trip to the Amazon River in South America, fishing for peacock bass and a whole lot more, and man, oh man, he had a great time and they caught a whole bunch of fish. He's also going to tell you about the 2 other fishing adventures they offer. That would be at Lake El Salto, a place I got to go to a few years ago with Mike, where you'll likely catch the biggest bass of your lifetime, and Lake Picachos, which is chock full of 3 to 7 pound largemouth bass. Who else are we talking to today? Well, how about Tim Clark? He is actually the owner of Red Dog Outfitters, and he wants to take you either turkey hunting or deer hunting in Nebraska and Kansas. Yeah, he came a long way to go to this Sportsman Show. But I'm glad he did, because his adventures sound pretty good, especially if you're an archery deer hunter. Our final guest of the day, that would be Courtney Prete. She puts on women's outdoor events. She's also the host of the Soul Summit podcast. Her company that puts on the events is called Her Outdoor Journey, and she specializes in teaching women skills like archery skills for deer hunting, or going on treks in Alaska and Hawaii, and horseback rides in other places. If you're a woman, or you want to give your woman a great experience with other women, you'll want to listen to what Courtney's got to tell you towards the end of the show. By the way, this portion of the show is brought to you by our friends at WorkSharp. They've got not just a great lineup of knife and tool sharpeners, both manual and electric, that you can use in the shop and in the field, but they've also got some great kitchen knife sharpeners too. Also, again, manual or electric. I'm always using the electric knife sharpener I have in my kitchen, and you know what? They last a long time, they're durable, and they keep my kitchen cutlery sharp. Better still, they're affordable too. So check them out at worksharptools.com. That's worksharptools.com. You're back in with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Kruse. We got something very unique going on here. I am talking to a member of the USA Saltwater Kayak Fishing Team. Frankly, I didn't know this was a thing, but it is. And with us here to tell you more about it is a member of that team who's also a longtime pro staffer for Max Lure. That would be Jim Davis. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thanks, John.
So you and I have talked about kayak fishing on the Columbia River in the Pacific Northwest before. Tell me a little bit about this.
Well, this gives me the opportunity to be able to travel around the world and compete internationally against other countries.
So let's go ahead and walk through how this works. What was the last tournament you competed in?
The last tournament I competed in was in Valencia, Spain.
At these tournaments, does everyone have the same kayak, or do you bring your own kayaks?
So the way it works is we go over, and normally there are some rentals set up for us, and we will rent kayaks. And hopefully, we're real hopeful that they're seaworthy, that they're up to the standard of being able to be safe in them.
Now, do all these, are they pedal driven? Are they motor driven? Are you using electronics?
Everything has to be human powered, so they're pedal driven or paddle. And yes, we do use electronics. Some guys had live scope on them. Some guys had just a standard, little 5-inch Garmin Striker or something.
So I'm guessing these are not bass tournaments or walleye tournaments, what are you fishing for?
We're fishing for saltwater species. And the hard part about it is when you go to another country like Spain or Italy or any of those other places, their saltwater is not like our saltwater. Just like the same as our East Coast saltwater fishing is not the same as the West Coast saltwater fishing. So you have to be able to learn their species, be adaptable, and be able to target that.
Do you get to do some homework prior to this? You know, like whether it be YouTube videos or I mean, how do you do the research to figure out how to be successful before you go on the water, or you just do it on practice days?
Usually what we'll do is somebody within the community knows somebody else over where you're at. And most people are really open to letting you know what's going on. And when we get little brochures or whatever, we call it a brochure, just on the internet there, when they send us our stuff to sign up for it, and it's got a list of the species and what their point value is.
So how many people are a member of the USA Saltwater Kayak Fishing Team?
So right now on the team we have 14. When I went to Valencia we had 9, and I think I didn't get to go to Costa Rica with them. I wasn't on yet. They had, I believe, like 15 or 16 people then. And they have regional qualifiers, which I'm actually going to have one this year at Depot Bay. We're going to bring back the Oregon Rockfish Classic. COVID killed it. And so that'll be a regional qualifier to qualify for nationals, and nationals are held in Florida.
Wow, this is fascinating. So these competitions, is it a team competition where all of your fish for the USA Saltwater Kayak Fishing Team are tallied together, or is there an individual component as well?
So they do it as a team, but there is also an individual component to it as well. So basically you can go and let's say you got gold as an individual, and then you had two other teammates got silver and bronze. Well, your team's going to get gold because you took all three of the high places, right?
Gotcha. And as for, getting paid or paying for this, I mean, are you on your own for all the expenses to travel to all these places, or is somebody paying for this?
No, it's just like any other Olympic thing. You're on the hook for your own stuff. So, I gather sponsorships to try to help offset some of the cost of things. And so far, that's gone pretty good. But it's definitely not something you can afford to do all the time on your own. There's a cost to it, but it's a cost to anything.
So who have some of your sponsors been?
Last event, Griggs Department Store in Pasco, Washington sponsored me. 5 Star Stump Grinding out of Vancouver, Washington sponsored me. A heating and air conditioning company in town sponsored me. Just things that I go and will send a letter to, and it's basically knocking on doors and see if they'll help me out.
Wow, absolutely love this concept. And I guess I should also ask, if you are a winner, if you win the gold medal, if the team wins, is there any financial compensation?
No.
So I guess it's a rich man's sport.
It kind of can be, but what we're doing is we have companies that sponsor the team, and they help out with things like tackle and rods and reels and different stuff. Kokatat was a big sponsor for the team. We got PFDs from them, dry pants from them. But like Hookup Baits is a big sponsor of ours, and they help the team out both with money and tackle. And by sponsoring us, their sales at Hookup Baits went up 40% in 1 quarter from us posting it up out there and getting things going. But we have people like the likes of Robert Field on the team. We have some other heavy, great anglers, but hard-hitting influencers on the media side of things too.
Well, this is just fascinating to me. If folks want to find out more about this, is there a website they can go to?
They can look up U.S. Angling, and you'll find that there is a USA Ice Fishing Team, surf casting team, bass fishing, freshwater, and then you can click on the USA Saltwater Fishing Team, and in there is a list of the team members, bios, and different things.
Last question. Where are you going to next?
I am getting ready to go to Costa Rica here in just a few days to practice with my coaches, and then March I will be in La Paz, Mexico, March 2nd to the 9th, competing in the Pan American World Championship.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, and there you go, folks. Jim Davis, an international man of mystery, or at least a first-class kayak angler. Thanks so much for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you very much, John. I appreciate it.
Modular. When it comes to getting the most out of your Camp Chef 2-burner propane stove, that's the word to use. Sure, you can cook directly over either burner with a pot or pan, but how about putting a grill box on to serve up burgers, steaks, or chicken? Put a griddle on to cook up your breakfast. Pizza? We've got that covered too with our pizza oven that you place right over the stove. Whatever you're cooking while camping or at home, Camp Chef has got you covered. Find out more about modular stove accessories at campchef.com today.
Ready to step up to a quality-built rifle or shotgun that's a true classic? Check out Henry Repeating Arms, American-made. There's over 200 models to choose from in a variety of finishes and calibers for hunters and target shooters. Many of these are lever-action models with a look right out of the Old West. Don't be deceived, though. Henry Repeating Arms are modern, rugged, accurate, reliable, and have a lifetime guarantee. Find out more and order a free catalog today at henryusa.com. That's henryusa.com.
John Kruse here, looking to improve your bottom line as a business that caters to outdoors enthusiasts. You can do so for a very cost-effective price by advertising on America Outdoors Radio. I will tailor a marketing campaign for you, reaching hundreds of thousands of listeners every weekend tuning into our show on 135 stations in 33 states. We've got a sponsor opening right now, so contact me through my website at americaoutdoorsradio.com and let's talk about helping you.
The Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation salutes hunters for the role they play in providing critical funding for conservation. Funds generated by hunting licenses and fees, excise taxes on hunting gear, and donations to groups like RMEF generate funds that fuel land and wildlife conservation efforts from coast to coast. Celebrate how hunting is conservation at our annual fundraising banquet and auction. Be ensuring the future of elk, other wildlife, their habitat, and our hunting heritage.
You're back in with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Kruse. We've got audio for you recorded at the Washington Sportsmen Show in Puyallup. And with me here today is my old friend Mike Whitlow with Anglers Inn International. Mike, welcome back.
It's good to be here, but let me tell you what. I just got back from the Amazon jungle, 95 and sunny, and giant grande peacock bass crushing topwaters. Man, we got a story to tell.
And I definitely want to hear that story, especially sitting here in a rain-snow mix in western Washington today. So let's talk about these Amazon River trips to Brazil for peacock bass. What do these look like?
So it's a 10-day trip to Brazil, but you're going to spend 7 nights on a luxurious shallow drafting yacht. We pull the bass boats behind it. We're very remote. We're way up by Colombia, up to famous Rio Negro. That's where the big giant peacock, the 3 bars live, 20-plus pounders all the way up to 30. And my biggest last week was 19 pounds, crushed to topwater. Our biggest in the group was 24. We had a lot of 20s, some 18s, 19s. Man, it's a trip.
So peacock bass, you don't lip these, do you?
Oh, you do not lip them. It's like 30 grit sandpaper. They'll just shred your fingers and your hands, and I mean, they are so strong, they'll jump right out of the boat on you.
I was going to ask, let's try to compare these to largemouth bass. Do they fight similar to a largemouth or a smallmouth?
John, there's no comparison. These things will rip rods out of your hand. They'll straighten saltwater hooks. I mean, they just crush baits. I mean, literally will break some of the topwater baits. They hit so hard and they fight so hard. They'll strip 100 yards of braided line across the lagoon, and all you can do is hang on.
Wow, that sounds incredible. As for tactics, are you using standard largemouth bass tactics, or are you doing some different stuff? I recognize the topwater bait part.
Well, most of it is topwater baits. We have a lot of Brazilian baits. We supply all the tackle for you. We use a lot of the big wood choppers. The Berkeley Chopo is really coming on strong. Ripping those. You don't just plug it along. You rip it, and they explode on it. We'll follow up with subsurface crankbaits, the X-Wraps, jerk baits, big spinner baits. But a lot of times you'll have one blow up and hook one, and the guy behind you is going to hook another. So a lot of doubles down there.
How many bass were anglers catching a day on average?
Typically, a lot of it depends upon your angling skills. We're tossing up into the trees. We're tossing up into the little cuts in the brush. But you get back up in there, there's days we'll catch 30 and 40 peacocks in a day. 4 different species. You got the giant 3 bars, the spots or pacas, the butterflies, which are the smallmouth of the Amazon. You'll get into schools of those, sometimes catch 10, 15 in a row, all 5 to 8 pounds. It's amazing. You never know what you're going to catch on every cast.
This sounds like all sorts of fun. Let's talk about the yacht, and let's talk about the food.
Well, we typically serve a lot of Brazilian cuisine, a lot of steaks, a lot of the Amazon fish, the tambaqui, the pacu, the paracu. There's just a whole bunch of fish that they'll grill up. A lot of the rices, a lot of the fresh fruits are amazing. The pineapple, the watermelon, the mango, the papayas down there. So a lot of Brazilian cuisine, but breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we got a full-time chef, and you don't go hungry on the yacht.
And the accommodations themselves, are they singles, doubles?
Well, it's everybody. It's 2 people, double occupancy. We have staterooms with 2 beds. You have your own bathroom with shower, hot water, air conditioning. We have some really nice accommodations, some of the best in the Amazon.
You know, when I've seen fishing shows down in the Amazon, I'm used to seeing these very rickety boats, little wooden boats and things like that. Are you using actual bass boats?
We're using 18-foot aluminum bass boats. These are custom built by our Brazilian partner. Every year we recarpet them, redo them, repaint them, but these are nice wide-body bass boats. You got a trolling motor up front that the guide's running, with a controller in the back. So you're up there fishing, and he's keeping the boat in the right place for you.
Absolutely love it. Gotta ask, everyone thinks about the Amazon as tributaries, and they think piranhas. Are you running into piranhas down there, and are you actually catching them?
Oh, yeah. We actually catch a lot of piranha. We'll catch some of the big black piranhas, but the most predominant are the silvers, and we catch a lot of those, and we'll grill them up on our shore lunch. They taste like crappie. They're delicious to eat, John.
I had no idea. So when are you heading back to Brazil, and how can folks book a trip with you?
So we're starting to book next season, January and February. I'll be down there several weeks in January where you can join me. You can call me at 509-378-2814 or get a hold of me at mike.whitlow@anglersinn.com or call our 1-800 number at 1-800-GOT-A-FISH and ask for me, and we'll get you fixed up. Trip of a lifetime.
Well, I'm going to have you repeat all of that again. So all of you listening, get out that pen or get in front of that computer, get ready to type. Let's give out your phone number and your email again. We should probably give out the website for Anglers Inn International.
So it's 1-509-378-2814. Michael Whitlow is who you asked for. It's michael.whitlow@anglersinn.com. And anglersinn.com, you can go to the website. It's got our 1-800 number. Call the office, ask for me, and I'll get in touch with you right away, and we'll get you set up on an adventure of your life.
And folks, you can do some of these trips non-hosted. I recommend doing it hosted by somebody like Mike, because I've been down to Lake El Salto in Mexico with Mike, and the experience is so much better with somebody who's guiding you through every step of the way, from the airport when you arrive to the airport and you depart, and the places you're going to stay besides the yacht along the way. You just make it effortless. Not only that, you actually really help out the anglers in telling them what to bring and all the stuff that people wouldn't otherwise know.
Well, the cool thing about the Amazon trip is we don't really want you bringing anything. We do your laundry for you daily. You pack 3 days worth of clothes, but we supply your rods, your reels, your tackle. You just show up, and we have it all for you.
Let's touch on your Mexico fisheries, too. Again, I was lucky enough to go to Lake El Salto with you, but you've got another destination, Lake Picachos.
Yeah, our new Lake Picachos is not so new anymore. These fish are growing up. We're averaging 100 to 150 bass a day right now. I'm going to be there next Tuesday with the big group, so stay tuned for fishing reports. But lots of fish in that 3 to 7 pound range right now. So you go down there, and it's catching all day long. It's not just fishing.
I love it. And so, new Lake Picachos, you actually have these little cabins that are pretty much lakefront. And then, of course, you got the main lodge where you're going to have your meals and hang out with your fellow anglers.
Yep, it's right on the lake. You've got a beautiful lake view, casitas that hold 2 people, and got your own bathroom, your shower, air conditioned. So come in for lunch and siesta, take an air-conditioned nap for a bit, and get back out there and catch some fish. The restaurant and the bar and dining area is actually on the water. So in the early season, when the water's up, you can actually cast a rod and reel, cast a tackle out there, and catch fish right from the dining area.
That's my kind of place, I'll tell you what. And Lake El Salto, the original, I mean, if you're after the bass of a lifetime, that's the place to go.
And let me tell you what, El Salto is on its cycle again, and the fish are big. Last July, I was with several groups. We averaged 80 to 120 fish a day with a 6.5 pound average. It doesn't get any better than that. There's a lot of big fish there.
You're absolutely right. And folks, when I went there with Mike, several anglers in our group got 10-pound bass. I mean, it's just the bass there can get massive. And if you get into the bite, boy, oh boy, it's like he was talking about Lake Picachos. You're going to be reeling in a whole bunch of bass in a hurry, and a lot of big ones too.
Yep, it's, 2 destinations. So whether you want to just go after the big giants, chasing the double-digit fish, we catch more double digits on El Salto than any other lake in the world. Or if you just want to go catch a lot of fish, go to Lake Picachos or do our combo trip. You come to Lake Picachos for a few days, get all your hook sets out of the way, and then all you do is concentrate on the grandes when you go to El Salto.
Trips of a lifetime, folks, and they're more affordable than you think. So again, reach out to Mike Whitlow. You can do so at the number or email address that he gave you, or just go to anglersin.com, call the main service line there, tell them you want to go on a trip with Mike Whitlow. They'll put you in contact with him and plan a trip to Brazil or to Mexico to catch some giant bass and lots of them. Mike, always a pleasure to have you on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks for having me. It's good to see you again, John, and I'm looking forward to getting you back down to Mexico or maybe Brazil one day.
I can't wait. Sportsman's Cove Lodge is Alaska's best lodge, and as you know, I'm a big fan. I've been to Prince of Wales Island in southeast Alaska several times. I love the float plane ride in. I love the fishing for halibut, salmon, and cod, and I can't get enough of the fantastic food and dynamite hospitality that they offer at the lodge. Now they are building new accommodations, new rooms that'll have television. They've brought Wi-Fi to the lodge too, and they're even offering extended 7-day stays with not just fishing, but other adventures too, as well as the opportunity to have a corporate retreat. Find out more about Sportsman's Cove Lodge and book your stay today at alaskasbestlodge.com. That's alaskasbestlodge.com, and use the promo code RADIO10. That's Radio 10. Let me repeat that one more time. That's alaskasbestlodge.com and the promo code RADIO10 for 10% off your next adventure. Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Kruse. We've got more audio for you recorded at the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show. And it's not just outfitters from Alaska and British Columbia and Oregon and Washington that are here. Oh, no. This attracts outfitters from even the Midwest. And one of them is Tim Clark. He's the owner of Red Dog Outfitters, and he is offering whitetail deer hunting and turkey hunting in Nebraska and Kansas. Welcome to the show, Tim.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about the turkey hunting first, because that season's coming up quick. When is turkey season in Kansas and Nebraska?
Turkey season opens right around tax day, which is probably the best day of the year to shoot a bird in the face. And
absolutely.
We actually went to a draw system in Kansas lately, so the application deadline is tomorrow. So if you have any inclination to hunt turkeys in Kansas, you have to put in an application for those immediately. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait until 2026. And we are a one-bird state now, so if you're looking for a Rio, I'm your guy. We also have some property in Nebraska that has a lot of, hybrid birds on it. But that ship has sailed. Those tags are already sold out for this year. So if you want to hunt turkeys, Kansas is the only option you'll have with me.
All right, so make plans for 2026 for turkey hunting in Nebraska or Kansas. When you say hybrid turkeys, are we talking about a Rio Grande Eastern turkey mix?
That's a Rio Amerium, actually. We have taken some birds that look more like an Eastern out there, but, to me, they look like one or the other. It's either, they either have a white band or, a cream-colored one, but, for the real bird nerds that want a purebred, Nebraska's not the place to go unless you're going to the far east side or any of the other borders besides the south border. Otherwise, you're in the middle of hybrids, and, like I say, most of them look like either. There's really more Rios out there than there are Merriam-looking birds, but we've had plenty of guys come out and shoot both species. So if you don't care if they're purebred and you're not going to do a DNA test, you can knock out both sides of a Grand Slam for a Rio and a Merriam as well.
Nice. What's the style of turkey hunting you do with your clients?
It's more like deer hunting. We sit in blinds and put out a decoy for you. It's not really a good place to, do the run and gun stuff where you're walking around and call and waiting until you hear something. It's way too open. So the problem is that the birds may not see you coming, but the next whitetail and the next cedar does. And when you push that deer out, you're going to run past all the turkeys, or they're going to run past the turkeys and take them with them. So staying still and staying in a blind is key, and having a good decoy out in a good area where they're going to cross automatically is a benefit. The good thing about turkeys is they don't do any business at nighttime, so they're going to walk by sooner or later and they'll see that decoy and they'll trigger them.
Sounds like a fun hunt. Again, folks, not going to have time to do it in 2025, but 2026, you can make plans now and go to reddogoutfitters.com, contact Tim, and get more details on how to participate. Let's turn to whitetail deer hunting. Now, what's the application period for tags for that, or is it just over the counter?
So the entire state of Kansas is on a draw system. You have to put in for an application, and that's every year in April. It runs for about 3.5 weeks. The good thing about Kansas is you can buy just a preference point. You don't have to buy the license and then get your money back in 3 months like some other states do to you. You just buy the point for $30, and then you're in our area where we're at, you're a slam dunk with 1 point. That said, people have been drawing with 0 points out there to the tune of 80 to 85% for the last 15 seasons I've been doing this. So odds are pretty good, and it's probable that you'll draw if you want to hunt this year. But it is an application, and it's not guaranteed. And there's some units in Kansas, and I can't name them because I'm not in those units, where it takes 2-3 years to draw, but just not where we're at. We're in 2 different game units where we're at, and we're allowed to apply through 4 different game units, so it makes it easier to draw that tag.
Are you also hunting deer in Nebraska?
We do, and that tag also is a draw now for the MDCA tag, which stands for Mule Deer Conservation Area. What that tag allows you to do is shoot either species. You can shoot a mule deer or a whitetail with that tag, but still $1. Then you can additionally add a whitetail tag on top of that and take $2 in Nebraska. Now that draw doesn't open for the MDCA tag until after the Kansas draw is done. I think it's done by design that way, so the people that are unlucky in Kansas can then apply for Nebraska. But they just went to a draw on those tags, even for archery, and in our game unit, we had a 100% draw last year on that as well. So it's not hard it's not a guarantee, but based on historical evidence, you'll get the tag if you apply for it.
So Kansas is very well known for its whitetail deer hunting, but I've got to ask, having not hunted deer in that state, where are they found? Are they found basically in agricultural fields, cornfields, or what kind of land are you hunting?
Anywhere with cover. And the later you get in the year, the less corn there is, the less milo there is. And the only place they really have to hide is either in CRP, where nobody goes unless they're pheasant hunting, which is a good time of year to get an influx of whitetail. The socially awkward bucks, if you will, get bumped off those fields and during pheasant season. But naturally, the deer are going to gravitate towards the woods, and there aren't a lot of woods in western Kansas. So we happen to have some of the best tree lines out there, but the thing is, once you get into a creek bottom out there, you can stay in the woods as long as you're by the water for sometimes hundreds of miles, sometimes all the way here to the East Coast. But if you hang a left off the waterway, you're in the open for dozens of miles, if not hundreds of miles of nothing but open country. It's just lots of corn, lots of ag, and I think that's the protein that helps those deer get huge. They also don't let you rifle hunt during the rut there, so they get an extra age class in that, where Nebraska does let you rifle hunt during the rut, which is a lot of fun, but you lose all your 3- and 4-year-olds almost every year. So very few can survive through the rifle season in Nebraska, where Kansas is a little more prone to growing larger deer because of the way their season structures.
Gotcha. Now, are all of your hunts rifle hunts, or are you doing archery and muzzleloader too?
Actually, I'm mostly archery. People come here to shoot trophy deer. Not everybody does. People get excited and they get, quote, deer goggles, like I call it, because the deer just suddenly show up on you. It's hard to judge a deer when you've got 10 seconds to decide, or even less.
All right. Well, that's fantastic. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the style of hunting. Now, again, are we talking ground blinds? Are we talking deer stands? Because hard to put a deer stand in a cornfield.
Most of the time for whitetail archery, you're going to be in a tree stand. You have to ambush these deer because they're going to see you coming otherwise. And again, just like the Nebraska turkey hunting, or just like our other turkey hunting, if you don't stay still, they're going to see you coming and going. They might forget that you came or went, but they're going to remember, for the first few hours, they see you arrive in the afternoon. So the longer you stay in the woods and stay in a stand, the more they don't know you're there, the better hunting opportunities you're going to have. And even if it's just a couple of does that were living nearby when you walked in, if they didn't see you come in, or if you came in under cover of darkness, those deer are going to move naturally, and that just might pull the buck of your dreams into your lap.
In the Midwest, is it like most other places where that first hour after dawn and that last hour before the end of shooting time is the best time, or are you seeing whitetail deer throughout the day?
Depends on the time of year, but if you're right before the breeding phase and right after the breeding phase especially, I think noon to 2, so anywhere in the middle of the day is more important to be there than the first hour of daylight. First hour of daylight, deer are still in the woods, but we step on them on our way in. So they scatter, and then so does everything else in the nearby areas. But if you get in there in the dark, or even sometimes I'll put hunters out at like 9 a.m. and tell them to stay till dark. They're not necessarily in the area. They're out running around, and they might see a truck coming where I drop somebody off, but by noon they've forgotten about that. And I think a lot of deer treat midnight and noon the same. but very few hunters have the ability to stay out there all day long. We all say we can do it till it's game time, and then nobody wants to. So the guys that stay, though, I mean, it's a small group that stay out there all day, but I get a lot of calls midday from those people, the dead deer. So if it were me, I mean, from an outfitting perspective, playing chess through people, vicariously hunting, I'd rather have them out there from 10 to dark or 9 to dark than just in the morning or just in the evening time. But to answer your question, mornings and evenings are always their natural time to move, but, women can make us do crazy things, and it's no different for deer.
So when folks are hunting with you, because obviously, you don't have a lodge because you're hunting both Nebraska and Kansas, are they staying like in a local hotel?
Sometimes the hotels. Usually we've got houses that we have set up for our hunters, but we've got properties scattered over 4 counties. So that said, sometimes there's a hotel that might be closer to the hunting, or if it's like today it is here, so it's snowing, it's easier to stay in a hotel and only drive 10 minutes than to stay in one of our cabins and drive an hour, So it depends on the hunt, but typically we put people in their own camp. They've got small houses from 2 to 3 bedrooms. There's no huge camp and the evening camaraderie, a bunch of guys sitting around drinking scotch and wine after the hunt, telling stories. That doesn't really happen where we're at on that scale because we are spread out so far. It's impossible to do. And that's one thing that's important to note is we don't include food with our deal. And COVID taught us that we didn't have to. People like bringing what they want anyway because they get what they want when they want and how much they want. But ever since then, we just discounted the hunt a little bit. People bring their own food. But every house we have is fully furnished. All you got to bring is food and all the cooking utensils and everything's there.
All right. Well, folks, if you want to find out more and go hunting for either turkey or deer in Kansas and Nebraska, the website to go to is reddogoutfitters.com. That's reddogoutfitters.com. The man to talk to is Tim Clark. As you just heard, it sounds like he's going to offer you a fantastic Midwestern hunt. Tim, thanks so much for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And one thing, if I could throw in, if you guys want to look at all the kills that we've taken on Instagram and Facebook, has almost everything that we've shot in the last 15 seasons on there. It's all time-stamped. You can't fake that stuff. So do your homework, pick your own references, and then call me if you have interest.
There you go. And the Facebook page and Instagram, Red Dog Outfitters.
Modular. When it comes to getting the most out of your Camp Chef 2-burner propane stove, that's the word to use. Sure, you can cook directly over either burner with a pot or pan, but how about putting a grill box on to serve up burgers, steaks, or chicken? Put a griddle on to cook up your breakfast. Pizza? We've got that covered too with our pizza oven that you place right over the stove. Whatever you're cooking while camping or at home, Camp Chef has got you covered. Find out more about modular stove accessories at campchef.com today. When you think of Work Sharp knife and tool sharpeners, you probably think of sharpeners for the shop or the field, but Work Sharp has a whole lineup of sharpeners for the kitchen, too. We're talking about everything from easy-to-use manual and electric knife sharpeners to ceramic honing rods, whetstones, and the new rolling knife sharpener, an innovative manual sharpeners that will do wonders for your cutlery. Make sure there's never a dull moment in your kitchen. Check out the entire product line and order today at WorkSharpTools.com. That's WorkSharpTools.com.
Are you looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook because we've got it right here for you. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer affordable platforms to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting John Kruse through his website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. Hurry, though. If you wait too long, the big opportunity might just get away. AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.
Explore the Dalles, the hub where discovery and history come together. Whether the Northwest is your home or you're on an adventure, the Dalles welcomes you. Just 80 miles east of Portland is the perfect year-round escape with a community that cares about you. 300 days of sun, breathtaking outdoor recreation, and a downtown full of the unexpected. Oh, and the rich history that began before the Oregon Trail. Start planning at explorethedalles.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so Yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
You're back in with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Kruse. We are chatting with Courtney Prete. She's the woman behind Her Outdoor Journey, and she puts together outdoor adventures for women. Courtney, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you've been doing this since 2017. Tell us a little bit more about your business.
Yeah, so we originally started because I grew up hunting since I was a kid, and I was the only female. I looked around and there was lots of little boys, and it didn't really become evident to me until I was in high school and into college that I wasn't seeing those women, and I really wanted to have those connections and allow other women to open up the door for conversations and questions. And so we started with archery camps in 2017, and it's grown into something so much bigger than I could have ever imagined. It goes beyond education and really into a very cool, very connected sisterhood for women in the outdoors.
What are some of the barriers for women in terms of, growing up like you did and getting into the outdoors, whether you're fishing or hunting or hiking or camping or whatever?
I think some of the misconception is that we have to have somebody to teach us, and it has to be a lot of times a male figure, whether that was a dad or a boyfriend or a partner. And there's so much that we can learn, but I think sometimes we don't feel like we have a seat at the table. So opening up the experiences to allow women to come in and see like-minded ladies that are, sharing a lot of the same questions and how-tos and wanting to dip their toe in the water, but not exactly knowing how to do that. I think just creating those resources, be in person or online, gives them the opportunity to feel like they can ask the questions they don't necessarily feel comfortable asking other places, and just giving them the experience. So you can learn something online or read lots of forums, but being able to do that in person, I think, is a really good way to solidify those skills and build those confidence for ladies.
Let's talk about some of the camps that you have. We'll start off with the original one, your archery camp. Where does it take place? How long is it? And what's it look like?
So we've done them kind of all over, specifically over the western United States. This year we're doing them in Fall Creek, Oregon, so on the west side of Oregon, and we'll bring them in. We've got a couple different levels, so you'll learn everything. We want these women to feel very confident and comfortable with their bow. So understanding their shot process, exactly how they're doing it, so they can get that repetition and build consistency in their shot. But we also want them to go home understanding how to sight in their bow, make those adjustments. Sometimes you take it into a bow shop and they'll take it away in the back and they'll fix it and they'll bring it back to you. But we want those women to be able to, in all situations, be able to tinker around with it and play with it. So we'll bring them in and even teach situational shooting. So we'll put them in a tree stand or a ground blind and give them the opportunity to walk through that and learn that shot placement for themselves.
How long is the camp, and what are we talking about in terms of accommodations and meals?
So everything is covered for them. It's a 2.5-day retreat. They'll come in. Everything is taken care of. They can bring a tent if they'd like. Otherwise, we do it as kind of a fun elk camp style. So we'll be in big wall tents. We'll have bonfires when it allows for it, and everything will be taken care of so they can sit down, have a good meal, learn throughout the day. And then we do a lot of Q&As, ask questions, let the ladies bounce their situations and experiences off one another. I always say it's not just about the education that I can bring to you. It's very much a collective experience where they get to share stories and really tap into all of that.
How much does this camp cost?
This camp runs $297 and also includes, on the last day, we will go to the mountain for a 3D event. So they'll get to walk through about 20 targets and get to have those real life situations and scenarios.
This is very affordable and very fun. I like this a lot. So let's talk about some more of your journeys that you have.
Yeah, so we also offer some bigger destination-style retreats, everything from a 7-day all-inclusive trip to Alaska where we're going to fish the Kenai River, we're going to go do a glacier tour, we're going to ride horses through the Knik Valley, and then we have one of our favorite features for this trip is a bear viewing tour where we actually get to go in and fish alongside the bears. Great for somebody who likes photography and just unplugging in those wild, remote places. And we're also doing some wellness retreats this this year. So we'll have things where we're going to be stationary, kind of at a tranquil location. We've got others where we're going to go and do an equine wellness retreat. So we'll be on horseback, really getting to soak in the breathtaking, rejuvenating aspects of the mountains. We've got a little bit of something for everybody, and we're continuing to grow. We listen to what our consumers and our guests want to see and the experiences that they want to have. So we're currently in 9 states, and we plan to just keep expanding and offering more opportunities for ladies to connect and be inspired in the outdoors.
So obviously the Alaska trip's going to cost a lot more than $297. Is it all inclusive? Are you covering the meals? Are you covering transportation in Alaska and also whatever accommodations? I'm guessing it's not tent for this.
It is not tent, and we actually try to book very nice, very comfortable locations and accommodations that have great views and good things, lots of opportunities to get out and recreate from there. They just need to get themselves to Alaska, and we handle the rest from there. Gourmet meals provided by our chef, clean, good eating, holistic foods, and then all of the transportation, all of the events, everything else is included for these experiences.
You're listening to America Outdoors Radio. We're talking to Courtney Prete. She's the woman behind Her Outdoor Journey, putting together retreats and trips and skills courses for women to get them into the outdoors and empower them in the outdoors as well. Let's talk a little bit more about this equine retreat you have. Where is this taking place, and why don't you kind of talk that out a little bit?
Yeah, so we brought in a wonderful body worker. She is certified in yoga, as well as some breath work and some other features. We're going to get on horseback there in Cary, Idaho, and we're going to take into the Sawtooth Mountains. We'll spend 4 days throughout that time. We'll be up in wall tents, which will be nice accommodations. We'll have cots that'll be comfortable, and we'll spend the rest of the time getting to really unplug and press that reset button, getting women to uncover, from the daily grind of the kind of overwhelmed life. Everybody's really busy. So that kind of unplug, reset, let that nervous system calm down, do some breath work, think about your 2025 plans and kind of outline the next path for yourself. This will be a really relaxing 4 days filled with yoga and just good connection with a small group of women.
This is just for adult women, right?
Correct. 18 and over for this. We also have a mother-daughter retreat in Oregon on the coast. And this is really built to allow moms and daughters to come in and have fun together, like let go of that kind of normal mom-daughter relationship and just bond, connect, do some team building stuff. We'll be going out on a beach horseback ride. We'll be doing some fun whale watching things. We also have a day, we are right on the water in the bay there. So we'll be doing some crabbing, get to feast on our bounty there, and just really let these women have fun and connect in a different way.
Sounds like some incredible experiences. Ladies, if you want to find out more, here's the website. It's heroutdoorjourney.com. That's heroutdoorjourney.com. Check it out. Get a hold of Courtney and go on one of these retreats or skills courses or whatever else you want to do in the outdoors. I think you're going to have a lot of fun and you're going to be empowered after you do. Courtney, thanks for what you do and thanks for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you so much for having me.
This portion of the show is brought to you every week by our friends at Henry Repeating Arms. It's a company I really get behind because they make all of their firearms right here in America. Now, Henry Repeating Arms is known for their classic, beautiful lever-action rifles, and they come in all sorts of different calibers. Everything from .22 caliber up to .30-30s and .357s and .45-70s and a whole lot more. They also have recently come out with revolvers and a 9mm carbine that's great for self-defense or to have out on the ranch. And they've even got some single-shot and lever-action shotguns, too. All of their firearms are rugged, reliable, accurate right out of the box, and they all come with a lifetime satisfaction guarantee. So go to henryusa.com, check out the lineup of products they have available, look for an authorized dealer near you, and don't forget to ask for your free decals and catalog while you're there. The website again, henryusa.com. We've got an outdoors news story to share with you from Outdoor Life. If you are heading down to Florida to go fishing this spring, especially the Florida Keys, there's a 50-50 chance you're going to lose your fish to the taxman. That's a nickname for a shark that steals a fish off your line. These are just a couple of takeaways from a recent study that confirms and helps quantify what Florida charter captains and saltwater anglers have long been saying, that they're losing more fish to sharks than ever before. Multiple experienced saltwater captains speaking with Outdoor Life in recent interviews say sharks have become especially problematic in the southern Atlantic and Gulf coasts, where warmer waters and large schools of bait fish and shrimp bring in game fish and sport fishing boats, which attract sharks in droves. The shark depredation study was published earlier this month in the Journal of Marine Science and supports these captains' claim. The study ran from July of 2020 to June of 2022. Researchers relied partly on recreational angler surveys and social media posts to gauge the extent of the taxman problem in Florida. They also rode along on charter trips where they witnessed sharks and other ocean predators in action and used genetic analysis to try and identify the species for the depredations. It turns out bull sharks steal the most fish in Florida, and they accounted for over a third of the shark depredations in the study. The study also found that depredations tend to increase during the spring and summer months, and the highest numbers were seen in the Florida Keys. You can find out more by going to OutdoorLife.com and reading details about this study. And on that note, it is time to go. So until next time, here's hoping you're healthy and blessed, that you get to spend some time on the water, in the field, or in the woods. It is your country and your outdoors, so get out there and enjoy it.